talk today, I mean, the thing that we're going to try to prove maybe today is how all the things that positively impact UX also do the same for the SEO. And that's not me, that's actually...
like very happy to hear that, like someone who is like 100% focused on UX, doing CRO as well, and putting quotation for like rank, which is the best or biggest name in the SEO world. He's the CEO of Moz.com, which is, I guess maybe we can consider him the most famous SEO guy in the world and in UX. So seeing a UX guy like taking code from a UX SEO, talking about UX and SEO, it's like kind of, this is the first step. Start listening to each other and like see how we can work together.
And during this presentation today, we'll try to talk more why do we think he came with this like amazing. So let's start with it this way. Like let's face the reality. Let's think of UX versus SEO. Like because we start talking about the conflicts, because we start talking about the differences. So let's imagine two scenarios. Okay. So the first scenario, let's imagine like a very good UX website, like a website that the UX team did like an extensive research for that. It's user friendly, it's trendy, it's easy to use, there's lots of engagement. So basically all the basic metrics of UX are there. The functionality, the usability, the feel and look, everything perfect. But
sorry, like you skip the SEO and you have like bad SEO on your website, so you have low visibility, you are not visible on search engines, you have low ranking, no one can really see you, and in the end you don't have traffic. Your organic traffic, it's very low. So your ROI or your investment, it's very low as well.
So what do you guys think the result would be of this scenario? Like spending a lot of time and effort and even money for UX, but not doing the same for SEO. What do you think, guys, the result would be? Okay, anyone share any idea? Yes?
Nobody's going to reach your website. Nobody's going to know
exactly.
Your website.
So what we have is that kind of, we can see it's very beautiful website, exactly. But it's abandoned. No one is
it's a piece of art, but it's like hidden treasure. No one knows about your website. No one actually hear about your website, or no one is doing any conversion about your website. Now let's imagine the opposite.
Okay, we have good SEO. So we have very high visibility. We optimize our website. We have very high ranking. Our organic traffic, it's massive.
But at the same time, these guys forgot or ignored to do the good UX. So even though there is a lot of traffic on this website, but it's not user-friendly, there is no enough engagement, the user will get confused very easily. They will spend few minutes and then they will get lost. And then they will leave this website. And the worst is they will not come again. So actually there is no efficiency in the way we spend the money, and the ROI will be like low. So again, how do you guys think the result of this scenario will be?
Yeah, we have like a lot of costs.
So it's traffic, it's busy, but it's ugly. And by ugly, I don't mean it looks only ugly. I mean it's UX ugly. So it's confused. It's not easy to use. It's not functional enough. It's not easy to navigate. All of these, like checklist, is not there. So even though we have a lot of traffic, but we also have a lot of bounce rate, and no one will come back to this website. So now, to try moving forward to the solution or to the strategy that we are going to propose, we're going to first talk about a successful UX project. Like, how do you guys think, especially the guys who are not from UX, how do you guys think, if you have any idea, like a UX project would look like, a successful one?
You know what, best from experience, it's all about delivering value. If you are delivering your value to your users, that's a core part of the UX.
Exactly. Yes.
So that's my perspective.
That's great. Actually, it's exactly. It's all about the user. It's always about to meet the expectation about the user. Now, can anyone tell me like how do you think the process is, or the phases, I would say, or the steps in a UX project?
Research.
Yeah, research. Yeah, go ahead, please.
I just basically start with my analytics.
Okay.
I just see like a lot of things. The page where these are landing to a page, and the page where they're existing, and the time on the page on our website, the bounce rate,
So what you mean is, let's look at the data and let's start our inspection there and let's start new search. So actually, like that's really a good answer. Like an answer for this question, let's be honest together, there is no way to say, okay, we have this plan or we have these phases or we have this process that works for UX. Each and every UX project is unique because the methods of research we will choose is unique because the budget, because of the time, because of the type of the business or the nature of the service itself. So there is no way that we can say, okay, here we go, we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, this is what we should do in a UX project. But we can think of it this way. So we can start saying, okay, we got the brief for the project or the product that we are working to. So obviously, first, we need to start with research. And by research, I mean all the research that about the market, about the business owner, about the user itself. We try to gather information as much as we can, considering, of course, the budget and the time. So in this phase, I would say we're trying to go crazy by gathering information. We try to get as much as we can, again, consider all these other restrictions. Of course, we reach to the point that we feel, okay, now we can understand more about our projects. So let's now trying to analyze the data that we have, analyze the data that we gathered. Let's now like think of the project exactly. The scope of work now is clear. Everything now for us, it's clear, and the problem is defined now. So we can again go crazy and build the solutions and build the ideation and build all the visual designs maybe or prototype or any type of solution that we are proposed. And here we will go crazy again, so we will have a lot of brainstormings, a lot of ideas, but welcome to reality. We need again to test these solutions, and we need to do like a final testing and pick the winners, I would say, and learn from this testing, and then finally we can deliver the final work, and we can talk about the future steps. So this is, it's a simple way, I would say, to imagine how a UX project would work like. And again, each and every UX project is unique. Now,
okay. On the other hand, what do you think the UX process or like how we run an SEO project? Any idea, especially from UX background, if you are having the UX background? What is the steps? What do you do for SEO? Is it like structured? Is something you need to follow steps or?
Yeah, sure. Definitely. You start from structure and you do content and you put your
Okay, good. Any other ideas?
First, you have to check if your website is visible at least. How much the ranking of your website?
True.
In the search engine.
keyword analysis.
Yeah?
Keyword analysis.
Yeah, that's true as well. It's like we do like research. Okay, we can. I will put them all in circle, starting from the first point, which is the research. As well, we do like research. We start checking about the brand, about the business, about the industry. What is the environment? What we need to do? What other people doing? What is the current situation? So like trying to understand the environment, the industry, and to put ourselves in position and start like on that, we start doing auditing. So we audit the current asset that we have, the website. From technical first, like seeing if it's like meeting with the search engine guidelines, mainly for Google, let's say, because it's the biggest in this market. Checking if the content good, is the content delivering what it need to be, is it ranked well? Checking as well like for the link profile, do we have a good profile? Then we move to put strategy. Now we know our problems, we know what is the market is, what is the industry. We start mixing this together and start putting roadmap to optimize and to implement the findings, the stuff that we find in the audit. So we put strategy, prioritize the stuff, and start work on that. And then we start checking how this performing. Is all this effort bringing results? Is it like kind of giving us a higher ranking? If not, we go back to the research and do this circle and start finding where is the problem. And we keep doing this on the during the lifetime for the SEO project.
Okay, now we both kind of listed the most familiar or the process of UX project and also an SEO projects. Now we have this question: where do you think, guys, we might face any conflict decisions? Like we mentioned, we both have research, we both have to do auditing, we both have to test. So where do you guys think, from your experience in real life, this conflict can come from? Yes, sir.
Maybe when you are gathering the requirements with the client might go with some sort of way, and the expert might go another way.
Exactly. Yeah, you mean like having two separate like information gathering from the business owner could be conflicts?
Maybe the client wants something very, very old. It's not
Or maybe the client doesn't know what he needs. Like that's another issue we could face. Yeah, it's very good points. Like
Or maybe fast results. They always think that it's short term regarding SEO. So they think that it's short term strategies. So they want the results to be appealing within
Very
2 months,
quickly.
1 month,
Yeah.
very quickly. And they don't know that it's a very long term strategy and it takes a lot.
yeah. So what do you mean? Like they maybe
Higher
expect that
expectation.
higher expectation in terms of like how quick the results will appear. Yeah, actually, we'll see. We'll not answer this question now. Let's see now how the things goes, and then after that we can answer this question. So we'll start to talk how we can build this strategy together, and during this process we will talk about conflicts and what's the best way to fix these conflicts. So as we all like agreed, actually, we always need to start with research. And
As you can see, like kind of for both of us, the first step was the research.
Yes.
So for both UX, they're starting with research. As SEO, I will start with research as well.
So for all people who works with UX, like I'm sure you're all familiar with quantitative research methods and also qualitative research, and how important to use both to build our solution. But we will try to like choose some examples from the research methods and then talk about this. So the first thing is the stakeholders interviews. It's exactly what you just said right now. So for us as a UX people, we try to answer this list of questions when we do a stakeholders interviews. First, we try to talk to the business owner, asking them, why do you guys need the solution? Why do you think this design will be your solution? Who are your target audience? Do you have any data? What's your requirement? What are your expectations? It's exactly what you just mentioned right now. And also, what's exactly the type of the service? And we need to discuss with them the KPIs and the expectations.
I guess everyone in this room as well will agree with me. This is exactly any digital project need, not only UX. So yeah, this is in the steps of the UX. It's more structure, they put that, but at the same time, this is for any project, like any digital project, you need to understand that if you are running an SEO or paid or any other digital activity, marketing, you need to understand as well all these elements. At the same time, like having all these people, like considering having SEO, SEO manager with UX and all these specialists going and having these stakeholder interviews, if anyone skipped or missed any question, the other will remind him. So it will be kind of gathering more information if all of them do this meeting or these interviews together.
Yeah, and for us, like after we listen to this SEO guys asking their questions and the way they talk to the client, it also helps us to, if we miss anything, or maybe they will give us better ideas or better way to imagine how the solution could be, and also to avoid the conflict that you just mentioned right now, like to have like different answers from the client, or the client is not sure exactly what he really needs to. So it's really important to share this process together and also to share the findings of this project. So this step. So it's necessarily that we need to sit together after this stakeholders interview and try to make the best of the findings we have. Now let's try another example. So I'm sure most of you are familiar with this term, competitor analysis. So we always need to check what the other guys did in the same industry or in the same service or product we are providing. So for us, the challenge will be, or I would say the exercise will be to define who are the competitors. And usually we answer these questions from the stakeholders interviews and also from our research, because sometimes even the stakeholders or even the business owner will not be sure who are the competitors.
For us, like the competition analysis as well, it's like kind of step. It's not only here like listening from the stakeholders what is the competitors, because most of the time they use their traditional competitors and not necessarily the online competitors. So as an SEO, I go like basically first thing I go to the to Google and just like type main keyword related to this business and see who's ranked. So I have my first list. Then there is another tools we use, like SimilarWeb, for example. We just like check who is the main competitor in this industry, and I have as well like kind of a bigger list, with backup data, based on data list with data, and no, this is my competitor because they are competing with me online, not offline only. And providing these competitors as well to the UX, I'm expanding their area. It's just not looking about what the client said or trying to find like in the same trendy way, just exploring more, seeing online who is present, who is there.
So the result will be more accurate list of competitors, because it's not only our research and not only the business owner research, it's also a tool that the SEO guys can use and then provide us, guys, by the way, you still have this competitor, keep in mind these competitors as well.
And based on data. This is very important. Like, it's like not something coming from our mind only. There is data behind all this information or all these insights.
Another method will be the user interviews or the surveys. So again, for all UX guys here, like, we know how important, if possible, to have a lot of user interviews or surveys at any point of the project, but especially in the first point of the project, to collect as much data as we can, because that will help us exactly to answer the question, what exactly the problem from the user perspective and why they face this problem. So it's really important to do these interviews if possible. And I guess most of you are familiar with this process. So we usually like prepare a list of questions and we try to share it with as much people as we can. Maybe focus group, maybe one-to-one interviews, or maybe surveys, and then we can collect to help us to understand how the user behavior.
These users are the same who are gonna use the website later. In the end, when the UX guy chose these people, these users, it was based on research to understand this is the potential target audience. So these people are the same people who are going to use Google later to find this website or that we're going to work on. So if we include a couple of questions inside that surveys or in the interviews, asking the users, how do you think you're going to reach the website? What type of keywords you're going to use? You can imagine the end results will have like a very accurate keyword research, both based on reality, based on something real, not based on estimated number we're getting from Google. So we will have like something very unique, very new, and very relevant.
And here the secret, the powerful part is these guys can like take advantage, I would say, from our expert in the way we ask the question, so they can get accurate answers. So while we prepare the question, considering all the stuff that we need to consider in UX, for example, it shouldn't be a leading question. We must make the user feel free that he say whatever he wants. So they can use this actually to add few questions that could give them like a valuable data when they build their keyword research or other stuff. Okay, another one will be the current website audit. We like to call it sometimes expert review or UX audit. So the point of auditing any current website that we're going to work on is actually just to decide or to see where are the usability issues, but this time from an expert point of view. So we have like a lot of things we need to check: the functionality, the error prevention, for example, the short memory challenges, all of the other metrics that we need to make sure that it works fine from a UX perspective.
And in the same time, of course, like it is obvious, as I mentioned in the beginning, one of the steps is doing audits for the current asset. So like checking all the technical issues, all the content issues. We're having as well here, like this is the added value from doing these both together, UX and SEO. We have tools. We use tools to get all this information. We don't do it manually only. So for a tool, for example, like Deep Crawl, there is elements, it's like also related to the UX. For example, on Deep Crawl, you can know where is the pages with thin content and with like very heavy content. For the UX, this is very important. They can understand if the user bouncing on these pages, do they like little content or like very long text, we need to reduce it. So it's like all this data we can collect as, again, like from tools, data, we can deliver it like kind of free data to the UX if we are working together, and it will be super helpful, I guess, for them.
Another good example for that will be, let's say we did our audit and we were so happy, for example, for the sitemap or the way the structure of the website is. And we say, okay, fine, check, this is good from our side. But at the same time, it could be some URL problems, and we are like skipping a huge thing that we might need to fix later. So it's really important to share.
Maybe it is like kind of, it's not important for UX. It looks fine. The user journey, it's okay. But from UX perspective, let's say I'm putting from the SEO, sorry. So I'm putting the landing pages, the important products, very deep in this structure. I want to move them. So this will affect the whole user journey. So again, this is issue the UX will handle, will start working on because of the SEO.
So it's really important to share these documents together and to come up with one master document that have all the issues from both perspectives. Another quick example will be the personas and the user journeys. So personas for people who anyone is familiar with this term, the personas?
Yes.
Okay, so personas, actually, when we look at the market and the target audience, we try to find a pattern of users, and we try to create, I would say, a profile that represent a slice of this target audience. And then we give this profile a name and the face and the age and like real information that will help us and help the client as well to understand exactly or to predict how this persona will be, or how the user behavior will be. For example, we can say, okay, like a big slice of the target audience for this website will be, I would say, like a mid-aged man who enjoy doing this and that and who use online for booking or stuff. So by giving this touch of real human on this persona, that will help us to later decide what is the user journey and, of course, understanding the user behavior. For these guys...
For us, I'm going to share as example here like an experience happened recently in RBBI. So we have a banking client. We are starting to do like something UX for them. So the personas start to be built. What we did is, because these same personas, these people are the same people, they're going to reach the website again from search engines. So we include this step before landing on the page and start the user journey and start understanding how could these personas reach the website. For example, let's say this user have very good knowledge about the product. So for me as marketer, I'm going to use in my marketing strategy, trying to optimize special landing pages direct to the point, or promoting through PPC these pages directly. While if I have another user doesn't have any information about or knowledge about the product, what I do is I start like maybe using another Google product, like Rich Snippet, for example. Maybe I need to put, put scripts for on my websites to have this rich snippet, giving information, then educative content, then to reach to the product, because I need to educate my user. Or the same as well, like for the paid. Maybe it will change my whole strategy, what I'm going to use on my ad copy. So all of these personas, it could help me to have ID or to my marketing strategy. So I can like separate the marketing strategy. I have more specific targeting, and it will be super beneficial.
For UX guys, to make it easier, I'm sure he used a lot of terms that we're not familiar with. So even though we really care about the user journey from offline until the conversion happened, but we focus more on the user journey inside the website. But for these guys, it's really important to understand the whole user journey, maybe starting from Google. So when we build this persona, that will help them again. For example, one of my persona could be like, has obsession of social media, that will help them. Another persona will be, okay, he's not interested in social media because he's not educated enough, maybe old woman or old man. Also, that will help them to build their strategy as well. Now we will talk about really important point that even in real life, sometimes we had a lot of conflict about. It's the IA, information architecture. So actually here we try to understand how the content structure will be on the website, how many pages I have on the website, how should I like structure these pages on the website, what should I put under about us, for example, what should I put under like, I don't know, products. So it's exactly the sitemap. So we have a lot of exercise in UX. We have a lot of things that we need to do. We have a lot of research to do the sitemap. And then when we're happy with it, we will go to the client and share it with the client. But the problem here, if we skip the SEO guys...
It is very important step. Here you decide like how the website will look like from search engine perspective. First, the URL, it will be the first effect. URLs, it's very important to have like well-structured URL from SEO perspective. It will also like the structure of the URL, like where is my landing pages, all my products, how deep it's inside the structure. Is it like it will give me like the priority of my pages as well. So it's like it's one of the elements that affect the SEO a lot, and it's very important to be SEO optimized, not only from the structure, from the label as well, like having the right labels, like the right words they're going to use for this structure. It's not about like, for the UX, they put like kind of this card sorting, and they put exercise, and they put something, it's relevant to the user, but like for us, it's putting keywords in this one because it will reflect the URLs. It is like the main brand, this is the main categories. It's very important. Here again, I'm going to share like kind of an experience happened as well in RBBI. The UX guys were doing a project for an e-commerce website in Saudi. So they asked us to review because they know like kind of this part is very important. They asked us to review the information architecture. So after checking that, it was in Arabic. Check the search volume, the current search volume for the words that use. It was like a couple of thousands. With doing keyword research and changing only the labels, like we've managed to increase the potential impressions or like searches from a couple of thousands to over 2 million. So it's like big impact. It is very important thing to put the SEO people involved in.
So yeah, actually, as he mentioned, it's really important after we find the final sitemap, or even during the exercise that we do or the research we do to build the sitemap, it's really important to get the SEO guys involved on that, because their feedback it's really important, and it's the earlier we get their feedback, the better and the more efficient we can go for the project. Another really important and key things that we need to consider when working in a UX and SEO together is the wireframe. So the wireframe actually, like again, I will ask anyone like, are you familiar with this, with the wireframe? Like, is anyone like here has no idea what the wireframe is? Okay, so usually before you start, like when you try to come with a solution and when you try to design this solution, so before the design, you have to at least, sketch this solution, because the earlier to fix the issues, is the better to do it later. So the wireframe actually is the first draft or the first design that show to you the functionality of the website and also how the content will be structured within the page. So in the wireframe, we try to identify the functionality, we try to see how the page will look like, and also we try to decide how many different templates we have on the website, and how the content will be or will look inside this page. So is it going to be like a text or an image or like a banner, or what's exactly the balance between the text and the images? And when we come with this first draft or the first design, the wireframe, it will be easy to test and correct. Now it's better than to come quickly directly to the visual design and correct. So usually before we used to do the wireframes and get the client approval and the internal approval and then move directly to the visual design phase. But for SEO
again, this is like kind of an important part, because here you are deciding the structure of the page. Like the first step was the structure of the website. Now we have the structure of the page, which is the real assets. This is the page that you're gonna rank. Is the place of the text, it's good? Is it in the top of the page? Because it's very important to have it in the top. How many videos they are using in this page? Is the page speed will affect that? We'll have like low page speed. So like having the wireframes approved and reviewed from SEO is very important, because even like the structured way of the content. Before it was very big issue to have like tabs in the content, for example. So all this like Google guidance on this landing page, it's very important. And to be honest, it's not only SEO as well, it could affect your paid activity as well, because the way you structure this page, Google will give you kind of quality score for that. So it is like for marketing, it is very important as well, it will affect. It's not only about the page look nice and the structure of this page user-friendly only.
Yeah, another good example of that will be like maybe for us, for some reason, during our research, we decide to put like a small amount of text on the page, which is not SEO recommended at all.
Yeah,
so
for like the minimum, for example, let's say for the content, if you're having content on this page, like minimum 300, the best is to having like between 500 to let's say 1,000 maximum. So like the number of the words, it's as well like something important to be ranked for this page, on this page.
So it's very important to present the wireframe to the SEO guys and take their feedback and correct all of this, or optimize, I would say, all of these first draft designs, so that we can avoid a lot of problems later. Now we will come to the key or the king of any project, which is the content. And I will ask you a question. Do you think content should be under SEO or under UX, like from your experience?
Under both. Under both.
Yeah, I mean, SEO. Like,
Should not be SEO at all. Should be more of a UX, trying to explain
So-
to the user what problem they're solving, and if that problem they're solving, they're willing to pay for it, then it's more of a UX.
okay, you can answer him.
What if you didn't
and
rank
I will
for this
answer
content?
the.
Yeah, it's the same problem in the beginning. It is very user-friendly content, but why you are not visible on this content? It doesn't mean if it is UX-friendly, that means you are ranked on your primary keywords. Let's say you are selling flight tickets and you have very nice UX content. but you are not ranked on book flight from Dubai to anywhere.
So
do you know why you are not ranked? So you need to ask the SEO guy why.
okay, for the it's really important for SEO. Like we can totally see that and understand that, but in the same time, there is a lot of things that we need to consider on content. For SEO, it's more about the keyword. Like, is the content optimized from a keyword? For us, there is a lot of things that we need to. So we need to talk about the strategy of the content, how we should like come with this content while talking with the client. We need to understand the tone of voice. We need to understand if it should be keep it simple, for example. Is it a corporative or it's like for education? Or so we need to know the target audience of this website and create the content with that. And for them,
of course, like we need to optimize it, include keywords. But to be honest, nowadays, no one's saying like content should be UX or SEO. It should be both. It is impossible to do a content UX or SEO alone. It will be successful.
Actually, it will be a nightmare. So if you can imagine, like we keep the first 3 or 4 or whatever from the UX perspective. Like we have the strategy, we talk to the client, we have the tone of voice, we have the branding. We need it simple for these reasons. But can you imagine if we finish all of that and the content is not optimized, and then when we go live, like they need to optimize the whole content and maybe to rewrite the whole content to be optimized and to be targeted.
And so again, like even if you have like kind of fully optimized content, yeah, all my product pages are ranked in the first, but I'm not converting. This is something that's not related to the keyword. I need expert to look why it's not converting, why this content, maybe I'm not reaching like the people correctly. There is something in my messaging like wrong, or in my like the way it's the content written, it's wrong. So that's why always now I guess everyone, even if you go internationally, recommending this to be both together.
It should be like the best example of cross-channel task, and the person who gonna work on the content need to be educated in UX and SEO, or in worst case, like if it's only a UX person, after they finish creating the content, we need to see an SEO or senior
maybe
or specialist to optimize it.
This is the fourth round. We keep like kind of insisting on this idea, because by experience in RBBI, like we have UX team, we have SEO team, we have each one of us have their client, and we tried how to build SEO content, SEO UX content, sorry, SEO content and UX content. And we saw the results after we have like kind of one content department having these board together. We saw the results, how it changed. Yeah. So, like advice for everyone, mix this together.
Okay. Yep.
What about visual content?
Same, like content is not text only. It is like everything, videos, visual, images. For images, for example, we choose very nice ones. The image content as well, like talking about something, translating this in alt text and put it for Google, it will be super helpful. For videos, there is a lot of recommendations how to do it and optimize it on YouTube as well. YouTube is search engine. So all these type of contents, it's like content, it's not only text. Here we mean images, visuals, everything.
And also there is a good point, like you mentioned once, I remember, like if even we have an image with a text within the image, it's not editable. It's like, even from UX perspective, oh, okay, it's fine, but I mean, it's just blind for the
Google blind. We need always to keep this in consideration.
Now we will gonna talk about something we're proud of that we do always in RBBI for most of our clients, if possible. It's the usability testing. So we have a technology, we have a device. Actually, let me show you before. So we have our lab in RBBI that we always try to test and validate the prototype, whether it's wireframe or it's designs. So what we do, actually, we have 2 rooms, one room for moderation, where we bring like a real users, like we have a recruitment who can help us on that, and we try to ask them to do a specific task by interacting with a design or a wireframe, and try to get this insight in real time. And we have a device who can help us. It's right here, it's Tubi. It's an eye tracker. So actually this device tracks the eyes while the user are browsing or looking. And the other room where the client can sit and also the research team can sit, can see live how the eyes are moving. So for example, if we ask a user, okay, let's change the language from English to Arabic, and the user start looking at the right corner, top right corner, because he's expecting to find the language switch there. The other guys in the other room, they will see that the user actually is looking here. And this device actually gives us a very important data, such as like the heat maps. So if you can see these heat maps, the more red it is, the more users are looking to. So if you can see here, the users more focus at this area, this area, this area. So we have this lab. We use it usually. I will go back to for the previous slide. We use it usually for pure UX task and pure UX things because we're trying to understand the behavior in real time. We try to do validation for our prototype, for our designs. We have like valuable data. It gives us the heat maps. It gives us the number of clicks, all of this stuff. But like we found, like since we have the lab and we have the experts,
we had like
we have
the
privilege.
In
so
in RBI we got the privilege because we're having this these assets. Is to use it as well, like for search. Like we can test our ads, we can test about display banners, we can test all the SERP, checking where people are looking at the SERP. Maybe I should have like knowledge graph, or no, I need to be focused more on like the normal SERP. What type of messaging I can like test like different ad copies or page titles and meta descriptions, seeing where people getting attention. So we will get like a lot of heat maps for SERP as well. So I will like have another type of data. It's not available online. By doing actual research on real users, they are the same users. They're gonna use the website later and adjust my strategy before I started as well. So I can like start strong. I start already optimized. So it is something added value we have in RBBI. And hopefully like, now we are working on project. Hopefully like soon we will share like kind of a very cool case study about this.
So, for example, the way we can do this together, so we usually ask the client or the user to do some task. For let's say we are testing an airline's website. So we will tell the user, okay, let's book a flight to Kuala Lumpur or to, I don't know, to Cairo, to anywhere. And we will see how they will react and what they will say, their face expression, all of this stuff. But if this guy is working with us as well, we can even add few more questions. For example, okay, you have this laptop. Let's try, what do you do to book a flight, for example? And then we will ask the user, just watch him starting from Google. And then adding this step, Google, with the heat map will also help these guys to see what is the keywords they are using, where they are looking on the Google page, which part of them is, like, again, as you said, the description and everything in the
because
there
is results. A lot of like products. Like now, Google, the Google result page, it's not empty. It's not only results. It's busy. There is Google Flights. There is knowledge graph. There is rich snippet. There is knowledge panels. There is the ads on the top. Sometimes down. It's like now it's not like that simple. It's not like before in the 90s. It was like only the organic and this results. There is a lot of stuff going on. So as well, we have the option to invest on all these materials to see where. For e-commerce, maybe like the shopping part, is it the images, the news? Like there is a lot of options. We can see where our business will be successful.
We have the lab, we have the technology. We can just add few more questions, one more task, and we will get amazing inputs or amazing data that the guys can use. Finally, we will talk about development. So the development for the UX guys is like, well, we're done. Like we're finished. We have our design. We test our design. Everything is fine. We have winners. We have good. The only thing that we care about as from a UX is only to make sure that the HTML we get is actually look exactly the same of the design. So it's only a QA.
For us here, it's not like done. It is one of the other critical places. First, we need to see they are taking the page speed in consideration, especially like for mobile experience later, even it will affect the UX, this one, not only the SEO. So the page speed here, like would mean like kind of, is the CSS and the HTML clean, for example? Are all the images and the videos are compressed? Are everything taking in consideration Google guidelines? Other stuff in the, if the CMS SEO friendly or the CMS they are using, like is it having all the SEO elements, we can change them there or not. The HTML checklist, like if all the SEO elements, like we have H1, we have H2, we have this separate, we have page title, we have canonical tags, all these technical elements taking in consideration. So, and of course, if we have an old website, are we moving to a new website? We need to have migration plans, setting up redirection, etc. So all of these, maybe it's like still after the UX, but like development.
It's important for us also to know, because when these guys mention the page speed, I mean, we still have to keep in mind where we are doing the designs, like how images should be put, or especially on mobile, should be put a video. Is it worth it or not? Is it really added value from this video or not? Also, when we're thinking of CMS and when we're sitting with the IT teams in the first like phases or the early time of the project, we need to understand that the SMS that they're gonna deliver is really CMS, sorry, should be smooth, should be easy. So that should be reflected in our designs as well. And for the site migration, it's really important to tell the guys, okay, we will go live after 1 week or 1 month, so they can prepare everything.
The idea here, because like, yeah, the UX, it's done, it's development, why are we including this in the strategy? Because maybe all the efforts that we put up before, if we didn't take this in consideration, we will not gain the results. So it will stay in the strategy because it's very important. You need to take care of, especially the last one, if you have old website, if you didn't do any migration, or your historical performance, it's like kind of
it's a disaster.
So yeah, it is like very important to put it in the strategy, even if it's not like kind of still SEO UX, it's more with the developers, because if you skip this, you will not get the gain for the previous.
So, okay, now we talk about many steps or many processes and how this work actually in real world. So the point of this presentation actually is to share with you like a real experience, like a real stories that happened with us. So the next few slides actually, we prepare first like a scope of work document for both SEO and UX to work together, and we'll share with you few slides just to show you how this could be translated into a scope of work document. So for example, it could look like this. So for example, for the stakeholders interviews, we can talk what the UX guys can do, what the SEO guys can do together. For example, for competitor analysis, like for us, it's based on the stakeholders interviews. For there, they have their tools and they will like help us to identify the competitors together. So we are walking step by steps together. We are working together. So here I'm talking about the user interviews and surveys. So blah, 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 I will do this. I have 8 users. I will do my questions and stuff. And then based on on the persona we shared with them, for example, they will give us few questions that we need to add here. For example, the IA and the sitemap. Again, the UX team to prepare the sitemap and then to define the content bucket. For them, they need to work with us and to confirm that this IA is fine. It really meets the Google best practice. For example, also for wireframes.
For wireframes, the same, like kind of putting the user journey, and then for us to check is the body content, putting all these checklists, like the content in the top of the page. This is the size of the content. The wireframe takes the page speed insights, speech requirements. So the idea of putting these 3 slides together, it's not about the content inside this, just to show you example. And by doing this exercise, like having the task, and you have like something the UX need to deliver and SEO to deliver, you are like kind of you are offering the whole team something ready, easy to use, and they will work together steps by step. It will not be working separately and trying to sync together in the last stage or like after the work done. So working on each step together and putting this written in the scope of work or like in the strategy, it will help both teams to understand where they should be involved and how.
Yeah. Again, very quickly, for example, the wireframe, like after we present, for example, the wireframe, it's really important to present it again to the SEO guys. And then they have to make sure of all of these steps, that the number of words and everything. And as Ammar just mentioned, it's about walking step by step in each and every project. And each and everyone in the team need to know their responsibilities, what we are expecting from them, and how we can represent ourselves if we are an agency or also if we are like in a client side as one strong team. So the whole point is to moving from UX versus SEO to UX and SEO together, because it's about your website, but it's more about your user. Whether it's a UX or it's a SEO, it's more about your user.
We'll go back kind of to the first slides when we saw like kind of an SEO guy saying good UX will impact a good, the good of the UX of the website will impact and have a good SEO on the website. This is true if you follow all of this and take it in consideration and work as one team.
Okay, now we'll go quick summary of these steps or these phases we shared.
So first one is this idea, good UX is good SEO. We should not like consider having good UX is always that kind of, that means you are sacrificing having bad UX, or having good SEO, that means, so it should be always good SEO is good UX. Working together, it's very important.
Another point is to work synchronized, like to work in parallel together, step by step. how can they be translated in real life? It could be weekly status. It could be like a catch-up every like few days. Just, okay, what's going on, guys? What do you have? Like, have you finished like the wireframe? Can I see this? So we shouldn't move to the next step before we make sure that the SEO guys are all on the same page and we are working together, just not to miss anything, and then it will be cost later.
And doesn't mean if you are working, both of you, together, you are adding kind of extra strategy. Maybe I don't want to pay for the SEO now. I will do the SEO later. No, it's not about like you are paying too much money now. You are saving a lot of money for later. Especially when it comes, if you have like bad SEO on your website and you end up to pay a lot of money on paid media just to get traffic to your website. So in the future, on the long term, this is good investment to start both together, not like wait to start the one of these later.
Because again, even if you pay a lot for paid media or for SEO, for organic, for everything, the tools, all the other stuff, if your website is not attractive, it's not usable, so forget about this, because you will lose everything just in 1 minute or maybe less. And again, all the users that will leave, they will never come back. So it's about spending in a wise way more than spending a lot of money. So yeah, that was for today. Like, we hope that was useful for you. Yes. Thanks, guys. Thank you.
First of all, thank you and congratulations for making a wonderful, engaging presentation.
Thanks a lot.
We hardly see two people coordinating and making a presentation.
Thanks a lot. I'm so happy to hear this.
One guy talking monotonously.
Thanks a lot.
So
Thanks for your feedback. Thank you.
I was curious when you said we had a Saudi Arabic site where you made few SEO changes, and from 2,000 visitors to 2 million.
No, not visitors. I said the potential. Like I said, for search volume, it was that like based on like couple of thousand to 2 million. But of course, like having search volume, this will like translate it later to a little bit lower impressions, which is the visibility, and then like a little bit lower to a traffic. But like the same ratio, if you calculate it, of course, it will end in later stage to have higher traffic, but maybe not the exact numbers.
What are those small changes, without giving away your secrets? What are those small changes you made
so for
that made that difference?
So for example, because it was in Arabic, so I'm going to give the real example. In Arabic, offers, it could be, you can type it as urud or al-urud. So how the L, it's kind of something the. So in Arabic, you use it a lot. So in the previous one, it was al-urud with like kind of the offers. I've changed it to urud only based on Google information, based on data, of course. It has like very massive change in the search volume. Like, and you can check like another ones like kind of maybe changing the whole word. They used for mobile hatif. I used local one in Saudi. They named the mobile jawal. So I used the localization. So I've changed the whole word. So this kind of changes, understanding the language, understanding the search volume, getting the tools. We have it free. Everyone can access a Google Keyword AdWord Planner. So it's just like something everyone can do, and it's easy to do. It's not complicated.
Yeah, at the same time, we might easily skip in a UX because we really don't know, or actually we don't think it's that important to add this L or to remove it. So that's why it's really important to show the guys the labels and the structure.
As like you ask this question, I'll get like kind of the chance to promote myself a little bit. Hopefully soon I'm gonna kind of, there is a white paper will be launched on RBBI website. It's about like all these strategies for the Arabic. And this one, this example is in details, it's included in that white paper. Hopefully next week we'll have it available for everyone, so maybe you can check it. Yeah, we're gonna share it as well.
So this is an off-site SEO exercise to get more traffic. Why not? Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Do you use the same SEO strategy for each language? So if you're doing a multi-language website, do you use the same keywords and description for English, Pakistani, Urdu,
No.
languages?
It's not, because the user, again here, it's about the user, because the user behavior is totally different, and the way that we choose the words, it should like totally different. This is one of the stuff, to be honest, like kind of I've shined in RBBIN, because always in English, most of the experts in this region, not only this region, in the world, like kind of coming from English background, not Arabic. In Arabic, we don't have that much of experience in doing digital marketing. So doing localization on the campaigns and keep pitching this kind of ideas, this is what helped kind of to to do something different from the way that you do the English. So of course, like it will be totally different for Chinese as well.
So there isn't a one size fits
Yeah,
all.
no, it's like different.
Give the example of tomato, maybe.
Yeah, again, like kind of if I'm doing, let's say, having a cooking website and doing recipes, and this website is targeting UAE. English, we're gonna put like in the recipe, for example, if we need tomato, we're gonna put tomato. But in Arabic, if I'm targeting GCC, I'm gonna put tamatim. But if I'm targeting Syria or Lebanon, I'm gonna put Banadora. If I'm targeting Egypt, I'm gonna put Uta. If I'm targeting Morocco, I'm gonna put Matisha. So, yeah, for English, it's only one word. But for Arabic, it's much more than one word. So, yeah.
Sorry, you mentioned the wireframe slide. I totally confirm that's very important for both UX and SEO. But I think, I don't know what's my view on it, I think you're lazy in this to have something to force the UX guys to go with, while you might have extra effort just to go with what they want, right? So I don't know if my idea is clean or not. So you want this clean, neat design, right?
Yeah.
But the SEO guys say no.
But here's the thing, like if I agree, so sometimes we need to sacrifice, and then sometimes they need to sacrifice. So even if I was happy with my clean design, but it's not visible from Google. It's not friendly with Google, so it's blind.
But we did this exercise a lot in
Yeah.
RBBI. It's not always like it's important for SEO as well. I need first to know this wireframe for which landing page. Is it important page from SEO point of view? If it is for the contact us page, to be honest, I will not like fight to have that much effort to change that. But if it's a product page, let's see, like, and if we can put weight, like, if the UX gave up on this thing, maybe it will affect the user experience that bit. But for SEO that bit, and even for me, sometimes I would say it's okay because it will not affect the Google guidelines that much. So it's okay. So yeah.
Another example will be like before, I guess Google wasn't handle JavaScript, right?
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah,
for example, before
that was important. So we don't like to have like a long, very long, content page with a lot of scroll. So we usually try to play around it with accordions or tabs or stuff. Yeah. But these guys will go so crazy. That was before.
Recently, guys Google start like kind of crawling JavaScript. Before it wasn't.
Don't put tabs. So, but now I guess Google is moving more UX. So yeah. Thanks. Any more questions, guys? Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you see SEO, especially for e-commerce, like for 2018? Because recently I saw that if you go to an Instagram, that you can buy from, like, for example, if there is a jacket, right? There is actually a price. Now Instagram, they put like a price on the jacket. So you click on the jacket and then it takes you automatically to the website.
Yeah, you can have the same for Google as well. You can have the price on the Google as well. You can. Like organically, you can implement that by having scripts implement to the website. Hopefully, we are planning to do, me and Muiz, another session in Astro Labs here. Okay. It will be after New Year for sure. About like how to do this kind of cool stuff and that kind of make the organic more fun. So yeah, there is way to have it like as social media, having the price, etc. All these elements.
But do you think it will affect the SEO maybe next year or something? Because a lot of people will put the price on Instagram. They don't go on a search engine anymore, right? For e-commerce.
Yeah, I'd like. Let's be honest. Google still like kind of the master. So SEO, as long as Google still is the biggest monster in the world, SEO will still the most important thing to do.
Right.
And the importance of doing that, it will affect like the SEO, like it will help the ranking, etc. When Google put a new product or new thing or implement something new on their search, like they will not do it for nothing. Of course, they're gonna use it later for paid media, and they will include it in their algorithm. So they will not do something and forget about it. First, they will test it. After a while, if it was successful, of course, it will be impactable. Just like out the topic, just to confirm of that, recently people start noticing by having Google posts on knowledge graph, the ranking getting affected. So, of course, Google later will value this more.
I also think there's going to be a challenge in the future, if I can just add to that, insofar as people will be coming less and less to brands' websites.
Yeah.
So you've got like something similar. You've got Google showcasing this information. Why visit the website? So I think in the future you're going to, because you're catering to the SEO and the standards and the development standards that adhere to Google, and we all play friends with Google, it gets supported by Google, they rank it up, then there's going to be a need to go less and less, especially if you can just do the purchase path through Google, for example. So you're going to journey less and less to the website, but that doesn't, all that affects is the brand's data. So from an analytic point of view, they're not capturing that person physically visiting their website from a bounce rate and such forth. From an analytic point of view, I think that's going to be a future challenge.
I guess this is what...
Get around those kind of, when everything's kind of brought up to a certain standard, I think the purchase path is no longer the brand's website anymore.
This is what Google trying to do by doing UX on Google, to keep the people on Google instead of going to the websites. So they're trying to keep people on Google as much as they can.
I think it's a number of years away, by the way. I just think that beyond 2018.
Cool. Any more questions?
So if you get a client for SEO alone, first you coordinate with UX for changing it or what?
No. Let's say because we are agency, but we get an SEO client. Of course, if they are not paying to get the UX expert, we'll not give them that for free. We are not doing charity here. But but of course, like there is critical stuff. Sometimes we go and ask, no, because we need the UX. Like it's because there is like big stuff. You need their help. Like you can't progress more on SEO if you didn't have good UX. Google even keep pushing for that, by the way. Google keep pushing to focus on the user for the UI, for the SEO, and stop thinking about the bots only, about the just like this technical stuff on SEO. So sometimes it's very important, and we ask and we do a kind of review and asking them that kind of to audit issues. Sometimes we give like free advice to the client for that, but not always.
Quick question, not for SEO, but for UX. Sorry. When you were at the research stage, could you give some examples besides of just doing a competitor analysis where you're looking at what other competitors, what their websites are like, what the user journey is like? What else can you do at the research stage only for UX?
Okay. So in terms of research methods, we have a long list. Like again, it depends how much you have time or effort. So for example, you can do user interviews. So you can bring the real users and sit to them and talk to them and ask them what they think and gather as much as information as you can. Second, we have the UX audit, when you take the current website or the current product and try to audit it from a UX perspective. So you check the functionality, you check if how they handle the error prevention, you check how easy to use the usability, you check is it any challenge for for short memory, all of this stuff, and all the output you prepare it in a UX document in an audit document for all these issues and how much they are serious and how much you need to fix it. You can also have like benchmark analysis. So in benchmark analysis, actually you take a look of a similar user journeys, even if it's a different industry. So for example, you are doing a benchmark for booking a ticket, okay? So in competitors, you will go to the competitors, to the real competitors, and try to benchmark this user journey. While in benchmark or landscape analysis, you're going for a similar user journey. So it could be a cinema ticket, it could be like an airline ticket, anything else which has the similar to the user journey, and do benchmark for that. You can also, like the stakeholders interview in one of the research methods. You have the Google Analytics report, which is so important for quantitative data. So when you work with the data team or with the analytics team and tell them, guys, you have Google Analytics, for example, for this website, I need your report, I need your input on that. So they will help you, where are the bounce rate in the conversion funnel, where is the visitors, where all of these, like the time that the user spent on this website, and this will help you as well to decide where are the problems. So if it's a huge website, this data, for example, will tell you, okay, you have a problem here, you have a bounce rate here, so you can start your audit from this point. So there is a lot of research methods that you can use, but like you can also yeah, you can also do a focus group when you can bring like 6 or 8 users together who are from the same profile, from your target audience, and talk to them and try to understand. So yeah, this is some of the research.
It doesn't matter whether it's a mobile first or a desktop. You do the same thing for both.
So in research, it's always almost the same. While of course, like it will be different the way you ask the question and what exactly the question and where to look and what to audit. But in total, it's the same. But when you start to design your solution, even from the early time, it's always better to start with mobile first because mobile has more restrictions. So in desktop, for example, you have a free space where you can sketch and do wireframe and stuff. But when you try to implement a consistent design for mobile, it will be a nightmare. So we always try to approach mobile first. This is for one reason. The second reason is the user behavior is more now on mobile. So looking at the data, no one is now using a lot of desktop and stuff. People do everything on mobile first. So yeah, mobile first is like important approach we always follow in our solutions. Yeah, thank you.
I have a question for SEO. So you mentioned similar website to use as a competitor analysis. How accurate, from your experience, is the data? Because you get average visitors, amount of time spent, bounce rate,
like
and in terms of
we check this data kind of even comparing to the client. It's not 100% the same data you get from Google Analytics, but it will show you the trend, which is the important thing. So it will show me like I have this search volume, and I see who is less and above me. If like the difference, like let's say 2,000 from the Google Analytics data, it will be the same different for all the competitors. So here it's like more important about benchmarking and like seeing who is above, less, then start studying and looking why they are above me, why I have like lower ranking from them, why they're getting more than me. If I'm following the same trend in the industry, is my traffic going up, going down? So it's not about like kind of getting like kind of 100% accurate data. It's more about benchmarking and understand your position in the market.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Yeah.
Okay, like as like RBI is like SEO company.
It is UX first agency, but then they like after maybe 1 year and a half the like kind of the optimized part start, which is like doing SEO, paid media, paid social, analytics, and recently CRO.
Okay, so what are your like as a strategy to probably you'll be working on your website, isn't it? If you're like SEO company.
Yeah.
So what are your strategy? You are working on your website to get ranked, for the generic terms like SEO company Dubai, all those things.
Yeah, you mean kind of what is our SEO strategy for RBI website?
Yes. Because I couldn't find your website in the even the second, third pages. Okay. Because I've been working on distance, I know like who are like
There is like kind of something we say in Arabic. I don't know how to translate it in English. They say like kind of Bab al-Najjar makhlu', which is I don't know. Anyone can help me translate this?
The carpenter's door is broken.
Yeah, because like always we keep attention kind of to the like focusing on the clients and stuff. We forget ourselves. But promise this will change soon because.
While on your website, I just want to understand these blur ideas.
Yeah, red, blue, blur ideas. It coming now. To be honest, like the founder, he's like he's big fan to Superman. Even the colors, if you see it's Superman color. So it's red, blue, blur. It's like kind of mixing the Superman colors.
So, yeah.
So all of us are Superman.
So the thing is,
I should have bring them.
I'm saying why blur ideas? Red, blue, and Superman is okay.
Again, the blur is for the red, blue. The ideas is so clear.
The episode where Superman was referred to as the red, blue, blur.
Any other questions?
So for the UX, right? There are like the websites, like for example, like Behaviour or something. I know for like big, medium businesses or big businesses, obviously like you need like UX for the website. But for small businesses, you can just like go to Weebly and then just create a website, right? Or Wix. Do you think they are like user friendly? I mean, the user experience. Do you think they do that like in Wix?
Like honestly, I don't think it's a good idea to go to ready template or to tribal because like. First of all, everything is changing very quickly. Like what was valid last year and the year before is not valid right now. I can give you very like smart example about that. You know the hamburger menu, the 3 short lines that it will be in the corner. You click on it and then expand. That was amazing idea 2 years ago, even less. That was so trendy and stuff. But now it's not. It's not valid. Like the research showed that people need to say everything easy in front of their website. So what I recommend always to build, even for like a very small website, try to do a research, try to understand the current market, how it looks like, with the trendy stuff, try to keep up to date, read a lot of articles, check all the UX mastery or all the other websites, the interaction design, like the heroes in the UX in the world, and try to understand what's exactly right now in terms of design. At the same time, you need to do all your research. Why you are doing this website, who you are targeting, what you are trying to do with the website. By answering this question, you can come up with this solution. And then you can do it in simple way, but don't go for like ready template. That's my only opinion. Like,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
to close up before we close, there is just like one thing kind of happy to announce. We will have Digitalks, it will be kind of event happening in January. It will be the first event will be in January. The website is not live yet. You can check the website next week. It should be like next week live. And you can follow us on the social media. And the speakers will be on the first event.
Oh yeah, sorry.
So first it will be Sofian from L'Oreal, Abdelaziz from Souq.com, and Amol from RBBI to share with us insights and strategies in this market. So if you are interested, you can like book your ticket to attend this. It will be an amazing conference.
I guess the most important part about this event is really to understand and to study the local market here and how the digital life looks like here from all of these three experts. So we would love if you can join us, guys, with this. As he said, like the website will be live next week, and you can follow on this social media platform to check the updates of that.
Social media is easier.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
In the end, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate you.
We're gonna share. We're going to share the presentation on SlideShare for RBBI. It will be shared as well on RBBI social channels and in our private Twitter and LinkedIn, so it will be accessible for everyone.
Also, feel free to visit us, not trying to get a business, just you can come to us and you can see the lab and the eye tracker and how we usually do see and how the heat map and the eye tracking technology works. We'll be more than happy.
In GLT here in Cluster Y, so JBC3.
Yeah. Thanks a lot to you guys for being here. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
I really appreciate your time.
Thanks for your time. I'm really happy that you're here, man.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have any?
Hey, how are you?
Are you on LinkedIn?
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn.
Yeah. You want to